Hi everybody, I'm Tony Schaefer from What Drives Us, and this is my ride-along review of the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. Now in this review, what I'm going to try to do is give you a feel for what it's like to drive the car. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and let's see how this thing goes. So the first thing I see here on the dashboard is displayed, I'm expected to get 30 miles of EV range. Now I think the EPA rating is 22 to 25 miles on a charge. So to get up in the morning and hop in and see 30 miles is a pretty pleasant surprise. So right off the bat, first impression, for a vehicle of this size, and make no mistake, this is a full-sized SUV, the EV acceleration is smooth, it's easy, it's driving very well. First impression is that this is a very nice EV driving vehicle. So I found the energy flow monitor, and you can see it here. It shows the battery, shows that it's powering both of the wheels. When I let up on the accelerator, you can see it's indicating regeneration. Power is going back into the battery. Now, what I find most interesting is that if I lightly feather the pedal, I can reach a point where nothing is moving back and forth. Now, typically in the EV world, that's something known as freewheeling, where energy is not coming out of the battery and regeneration is not being captured. I'm not exactly sure if that's what the Outlander is doing right here, or if it's just a display sort of quirk, but I will say that freewheeling is something that is actually sought after in the EV world because it allows you to keep rolling without slowing down due to regeneration or using energy out of the battery. If you like hybrids, plug-in hybrids, and EVs as much as I do, make sure you subscribe to the What Drives Us YouTube channel. We cover the news and we do reviews. You'll learn a lot about alternative fuel vehicles on our channel. I guarantee it, or your money back. Sometimes in a high-tech car like the Outlander PHEV, something that's so full of electronics, sometimes it's the little things that make the big difference. I drive due south every morning. I drive due north every evening, which means the sun is always coming up out my window or setting out my window. So I've come to appreciate a car that has a visor that slides out and covers this space right here where the sun always seems to be. Unfortunately, this is not that car, and this is not that visor. Ugh. Unfortunately, the Outlander PHEV doesn't automatically give a trip distance. So what I mean is, you get in the car, you start driving, and it automatically tells you how far you've driven. There is trip A, trip B, and the overall odometer, but you have to remember to reset trip A if you want to see how far you've driven on this ride. So I'm going to have to wait until I get to work, which I know is 24 miles, to see how much range I have left. And that's why I'm bringing this up, because I'm at a red light. What I wanted to do was tell you I've driven this many miles and I'm expected to get this many more. But unfortunately, I can't see how many miles I've driven so far. Just one little thing, and I know that's not for everyone, but every once in a while I do like to see how far I've driven and look at how much my range is left, so I know whether or not I'm going to make it in full EV. That's it. From time to time, I might point out that a little piece of information, EV, something is missing, that there's a little nugget that I'm looking for, but I can't find it. And perhaps I'm just a spoiled little nerd accustomed to driving a plug-in that gives me almost all the information I could ever wish for, sometimes like all at once. And I don't want you to think that I'm, trash talking the Outlander PHEV because it doesn't show the information. To the contrary, Mitsubishi might be not showing that information on purpose in order to just demystify, if you will, the entire EV aspect of the car. By not putting all the EV information in your face all at once, Mitsubishi might be taking the stance, it's a car. You just drive it. You happen to plug it in every once in a while. You plug it in at night, maybe at home, plug it in maybe at work or whatever. You drive it until the battery runs out and then the engine kicks in. That's it. Don't worry about it. Maybe that's the stance they're taking. And if it is, then that's a very interesting stance, because a lot of cars to this point have focused on the EV and have really tried to put that in your face. Perhaps this is one way of Mitsubishi saying, don't worry about it, just drive it. So here I am, I've arrived at work, and it was 24 point something miles. You can see here on the energy flow screen, I have 5 point something miles remaining. So it looks like the 30 miles that was projected this morning was pretty accurate. And like I said before, I'm relatively impressed. The EPA 22 to 25 mile range, and I got 30 on the first day of driving the car. Now you look at the eco information, and what you'll see is it's up to 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Earlier it was 3.3, 3.4. It had been climbing as I'd been driving it. So hopefully the Mitsubishi is adapting to my driving style, and we'll see the 3.7 go up to maybe 4 or 4 point something. And what that means is, from drive to drive, it will help me get more miles of range, because it's learning my driving style. As I learn the car, it's learning me, and together we'll get farther on a full charge. We'll have to see as the week progresses, but at the end of my first commute, I have to say I have absolutely enjoyed driving the Outlander PHEV. It is a very nice car, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the week. One of the biggest gripes of hybrids and plug-ins is the transition from electric to internal combustion engine. Throughout my drive so far, the Outlander has transitioned from electric to internal combustion engine multiple times. And I got to tell you, the first few times, I didn't even know what happened. It wasn't until the third or fourth time that I actually noticed it. I switched over to the energy flow monitor and saw that the engine was running. So kudos to Mitsubishi. The transition was so smooth, I wasn't even aware that it was happening. And I drive hybrids and plug-ins on a regular basis. I usually pick up on these things. This car is so silky smooth in the transition. Like I said, it's usually one of the biggest complaints of drivers, but in this case, it's imperceptible. You can see right on the display here that I'm parked at the electric spot. I love the bird's eye view perspective. I also love that the yellow lines move as you turn the wheel. A lot of cars don't do that. And I might be a little weird in that I really appreciate the angle of the curve, knowing that this is exactly where the car is going to go. But for me, this is a really big deal. Pointing out not only where the back wheels are going to turn, but also how the vehicle is going to swing out. I think that's really great. So kudos Mitsubishi. I like that display. I like that view. The Outlander has lane departure warning. So if I start swaying out of a lane, it's going to beep at me. Now, this is lane departure warning. It's not lane departure assist. And the difference is it beeps to let you know that you're wandering outside the lane, but it does not at any time help nudge you back into the lane. Just want to make sure that you understand it's lane departure warning, not lane departure assist. One thing I don't understand is the shifter. It has a joystick shifter that always returns back to the base position when you're done shifting. It's a shift by wire thing. And I'm fine with that. That's not the problem. What I don't understand is that in order to go forward, to put it in drive, you have to push the shifter to the left and back. And in order to go in reverse, you push the shifter to the left and go forward. That's right. To go into reverse, you put the shifter forward, and to go forward, you push the shifter back. This would seem like a perfect opportunity to kind of flip those two around and make forward, forward, and backward, back. I don't understand it. You know, it doesn't take that long to get used to it. It just strikes me a little bit as odd. That's all. If you're an experienced EV or PHEV driver, you're probably already familiar with the concept of single pedal driving. Now, what this means is you use the accelerator to move forward and you simply let off the accelerator to slow down, and you use the brake pedal as little as possible. Now, in a battery-powered car, this is made possible by using the car's regenerative braking to slow the car down. Now, there are times, of course, you have to come to a complete stop and your actual physical braking is necessary, but when maintaining speed and momentum, single pedal braking is a very great thing to use to improve the efficiency of the car and make the general driving easier. Now, the reason I bring this up is that Mitsubishi makes single pedal driving a lot easier and actually more intuitive to the driver. You see, at first I thought it was really weird that the Outlander PHEV would have paddle shifters. There's a paddle on the right and a paddle on the left. The one on the right is marked plus with an off. The one on the left has a minus sign. So I did what came natural, which is I pumped the paddles. Nothing in particular happened. The car didn't seem to shift, but on the dash it displayed B1, B2, B3, B4, B5. Again, nothing happened until I let off the accelerator, and that's when I realized that the paddles allow you to adjust the strength of the Outlander's regenerative braking. Now, what this allows you to do is control your one pedal driving. Some cars have a single button that you can press for stronger regen or weaker regen. This is the first car I've seen where I have 5 levels of active regeneration. I've been playing around with it during this morning's drive, and I have to tell you, as an experienced EV driver, it is really a neat thing that they've implemented. And I think that once you get accustomed to it, and once you've experienced one pedal driving and you know why it's a thing and how to do it, you will really appreciate the ability to dial in the level of regeneration in the Outlander. I've had the Outlander PHEV for a few days now, and honestly, I'm starting to run out of things to call out. I mean, there's only so many times I can say the seats are comfortable, the dashboard looks really nice, the ride is great, the transition from EV to internal combustion engine is relatively imperceptible. Yeah, I mean, when you have a vehicle that drives and rides and feels this nice, you very quickly run out of things to point out because you just end up enjoying the drive. I did not expect to enjoy driving an SUV of this size this much. I'm not an SUV driver, I'm a small car driver. So I was a little concerned about having a vehicle of this size. It doesn't feel large when I'm driving it. It drives very comfortably, it handles very well. It doesn't feel like I'm driving a boat or something. Yeah, long story short, after all that is, I really do enjoy driving this car. So I have to run some errands. Here I am in the parking lot, and as I roll into the spot, I can turn on the camera that can show me exactly how I'm centered in the spot. So here I am coming up, right up to the yellow line here, and there we go. So I really like this screen for being able to show me when I'm at the yellow line, and then even how I'm parked within the spot itself. And I can push the button again and transfer this over to show the yellow right there to show me that I am centered in the spot. I love this feature. I don't know that I would use it every day, but on those times when I'm questioning how I'm centered in the spot, I would definitely go to it. And certainly the backup camera for backing into spots. The temperature dropped to about 25 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. So when I got in this morning, the heater came on, which caused the engine to turn on. And that's okay. Once the cabin got up to temperature, the engine kicked off again. Okay, no big deal. It did give me an opportunity to use the heated seats and the heated steering wheel. It's very nice to have those two little touches on those cold mornings. Many times a PHEV is sort of a gateway EV. It allows you to plug in and drive as much as you can in electric, and then the engine kicks in when the battery depletes. Now, the reason I refer to it as a gateway EV is that if you still have a little bit of range anxiety and you want to make sure that you still have the safety net of an internal combustion engine for longer drives, you still have that. And the Outlander PHEV does give you the best of those two worlds. In my week with the Outlander PHEV, I found it to be a very capable PHEV. With every charge, I was getting approximately 30 miles of range, and I find that to be very impressive. If you've watched this video all the way to the end, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch it to completion. I hope you found it beneficial and informative. And if you have, please do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. And if you like alternative fuel vehicles as much as I do, make sure you subscribe to the What Drives Us channel. Every week we cover the news, and every chance we get, we post reviews. Thanks again. I'm Tony Schaefer, and this is my ride-along review of the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV.